This is a significant development in an effort to end these anti-government protests, which in fact have been going on for some 3 months, although they've greatly been stepped up over the past week. Now, the Thai Prime Minister Prayuth Chan-ocha made his remarks from Government House even as demonstrators were advancing towards the seat of government. Clearly, the key point from what he said was this offer that he's made to end the state of emergency here in Bangkok, which he introduced himself about a week ago, which in itself made all of these protests illegal and gave the police sweeping new powers. It's a fairly lengthy statement. I have it here. It's worth looking at some of the things he said. He said the protesters have made their voices heard, but he now appealed to them to stop their protests and let Parliament discuss this issue and try to find a way forward. He said that he would make the first move to de-escalate the situation by ending the state of emergency as long as there was no violence in the meantime. He went on to say this, quite interesting: while I can listen to and acknowledge the demands of protesters, I cannot run the country based on protester or mob demands. Now, he also addressed that incident which happened last Friday in Bangkok when police opened fire with water cannon on protesters. You'll remember these protesters are mostly young people, university students, some of them are even school children. There was a lot of reaction around the world, quite a bit of condemnation of that move, and the Prime Minister has now accepted. He said the use of water cannons, he agrees, is not the way to get a better society here in Thailand. However, though, he does say that it was prompted by what he described as terrible crimes being committed against the police by a small group of ruthlessly violent people with bad intentions who he says were attacking some members of the police force with metal rods and cutting equipment. He went on to say, we have to break this cycle and we must step back from the edge of this slippery slope. Now, the Thai Parliament is currently in recess, but it's already been recalled by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, and there will be a special 2-day session at the beginning of next week to discuss this issue. So the Prime Minister is hoping very much that his statement will convince protest leaders to call a halt to their street demonstrations. Now, it may well go a long way towards addressing their immediate concerns, but whether it goes far enough, we're still not sure. The protest leaders will be digesting this statement and will be having their own talks about it before they react. But one sticking point that may come to a head is that the protesters have previously said that all the people who've been arrested under this emergency decree during the past week, and that's probably some 50 or 60 protesters, but also more significantly perhaps a couple of dozen protest leaders who some of those are still in police custody. They have said that all of those people have to be freed and charges dropped before they will agree to bring their campaign of protests to an end.